Guess what? If you're holding on to something psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, and usually not even physically, but you're holding on to something, that means you have an attachment to it energetically, and it's no longer aligned with you, it no longer serves you, it no longer benefits your life. It actually is anchoring you into the past. And then you're wondering why you're stuck. It's time to really start to pull back and allow yourself the clarity of mind, the honesty of perspective to have a deep look into your life. Right now is the best time for this. We're in spring. The seasons have completely shifted. I'm seeing little tiny apricots growing now. I mean, there's abundance. There's fruit starting to spring forth, and yet it can't happen if the trees did not release their leaves. Right? Those little apricots wouldn't be returned if last fall into the winter the trees didn't release their leaves so that new fruit could come forth. And it's the perfect analogy of where people find themselves stuck psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because you're holding on to something that no longer is serving you. And most of these things are rooted in emotional trauma, needing to be validated, telling ourselves a story, romanticizing about a story, and yet we have such a hard time letting go of the past, chalking up the L, right? Chalking up the L. It's so hard. It's so painful for us to feel like we have failed. Who wants to be a loser? No one ever wants to be a part of the losing team. However, every single one of us has a resume, experiences in life that are absolutely not victorious, right? That's the guilt, that's the shame, that's the regret. And that's a big reason why we self-medicate, we keep ourselves distracted, because if we look at those things, which they do need to be looked at, but the separation is, it's one thing to review. And the reason why you review is because there is lessons for you to learn. And when you learn lessons, you grow. When you avoid the lessons, you stay stagnant, apathetic, you feel stuck. I hope that that's resonating with you. Because if you're feeling stuck, apathetic, and unmotivated, it's because you didn't show up for class. What class, you might ask? The class of life, this whole experience. It's a classroom, it's a game. And yet we need to have that open sense of energetic presence to say, you know what, there's lessons to be learned in every situation, every experience. And if you actually can face those situations, and it's the tough ones, right? It's the hardest shit that we go through. The breakups, the failures, the firings, the rejection, the abandonment, the trauma, the abuses, the things that are like so fucking painful. That we find ourselves trying to do everything possible to distract ourselves from acknowledging this. Why do you think it's so easy for people to jump on the quote-unquote bandwagon, right? Especially when it's like time for the playoffs. It's like, your team didn't make it, no big deal. I'll root for someone else. I'm gonna root for a winner because I'm gonna pretend that I'm a winner, because I don't want to face the losses in my life. And I know I've gone many, many, many seasons where I did want to avoid. And I did use self-medicating habits and behaviors in order to feel decent about myself. And what I've realized is none of it ever worked. None of it ever brought me the solutions that I truly desired, which was freedom. Freedom. Freedom comes from looking yourself in the mirror and looking within and really being honest with yourself. It's facing yourself. That's the hardest thing, I think. It's the hardest fucking thing to do, is to be so honest with yourself that you just face yourself completely whole. Like, there's no self-abandonment, there's no running, there's no pretending, there's no hiding, there's no distracting. There's just saying, you know what, life on life's terms. Because we've all chalked up losses, we all have regret, we all have mistakes, we all have experiences that we wish would have been different. And yet, as you sit here now and you're listening to this message, can you truly ask yourself, what can you change? What can you not change? Can you change something that happened in the past? Can you change it? Can you change a mistake that you made that you're carrying around all kinds of guilt and shame about? Can you change it? Can you change it if it's already cemented in the bowels of time? You can't. It's there. It's done. But as you're sitting here, and maybe this is years later, maybe this is so long ago, what can you do with it? You can face it. And the biggest thing to do is to forgive yourself. To forgive yourself, especially if you feel like you weren't your best, that you made some mistakes, that there's some things you would have done differently. But if you continue to avoid and run and distract yourself and never want to face those things, then there's no growth. You're going to be stuck. You may think you're moving on and finding new things and doing new things, and maybe to some degree you are. But deep down inside of yourself, there is an energetic block. And that is what I'm talking about most here, is how do you clear those energetic blocks? You can't just avoid this shit, especially emotional trauma. It doesn't just heal. It doesn't go away. I wish there was a way to do it. But to reprogram yourself, especially from your survival patterns, your traumatic subconscious programs, it takes a lot of intention. And I get it. That's probably why a lot of people are like, fuck that, man. I'd rather just do what I'm doing. Self-medicating. But yet, what does it benefit you to just continue being that way? If you're miserable underneath the surface, if you're suffering in silence, if you're desperate and feeling alone and helpless and hopeless. I mean, there's a crisis happening right now. We have an obesity crisis, and we also have people making the decision to delete themselves kind of crisis every single day, especially in men's health. 2,000 men every single day. This is not something that is a joke. This is the real deal. People are truly suffering. And I still walk many of those paths with a lot of people. And yet there's hope in my heart. There's hope in my mind that as I continue to move forward and figure out the most effective ways to bring about results and healing, growth, and ultimately freedom, which will deliver some inner peace, which will deliver you to take some action that's inspired. A lot of people can become motivated and inspired to take action, but it's only one-dimensional, right? You get out, you have a falling out in a relationship. A lot of people going through divorce or even just long-term relationships gone bad, and you want to get that revenge bot, right? Well, that's one-dimensional, and it's fueled off of the wrong thing. It reminds me of when I got sober for the first time. It was all out of anger. I was so angry. I felt so betrayed. I felt so stabbed in the back that I just literally created this anger towards alcohol and the whole industry. And yet it didn't. I stayed sober for 3 years, but guess what? It came back full circle. It got me. And yet here I am at 13 years, and I don't have anger towards anything except for at sometimes I can feel some anger towards myself, because I know that there's regret. There's regret. We carry around regret. Are you carrying around regret? What are the things you wish would be different? And again, can you have that honest appraisal with yourself, a reflection? And to have clear reflection, that means you gotta stop. Like where I'm at right now is a great place. If I have my journal right here, it's sunny, it's calm. I'm out in nature. Can breathe. And to take some time to do some reflecting. Things that are bothering you underneath the hood, right? Underneath the surface. What's really coming up for you? Are you willing to reflect deep enough with a pen and a paper and really get out all your fears, get out all your doubts, and then look at those things and say, what can you change? Can you change the things that happen? No. Could you change who you are now? Yes. Yes, this is the message. This is the encouragement. We can't change what we've done. We can change who we are as a result. You can allow for your past to refine you into the better version of yourself, to learn from your mistakes. Isn't it as simple as that? Learning from your mistakes, not avoiding them, not acting as if it's someone else's fault, passing on the buck. A lot of people do that shit. We want someone else to blame. That's being a victim. If you choose to be a victim, you're going to stay that way. You're going to continue to attract people that victimize you and that keep that story going. New person, same fucking story. And yet, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And yet, I know a lot of people that are putting in the work, and I commend you for that. Everyone that's new here to the channel, welcome. Lock into this. This isn't just, I don't put this message out just for entertainment purposes. It can be entertaining. It can, add value by listening and maybe finding some inspiration here. But this whole thing is about inspiring you to put in the work, right? What work are you willing to do? And when I'm talking about work, it's like, how are you going to improve yourself? How are you going to develop yourself? How are you going to discover your true authentic self? What you truly should be doing? And how are you going to rewrite your stories? If you're telling your story that you're a failure, that nothing ever goes your way, and that no one's ever going to love you, and that you're never going to be good enough, and right, you just got to settle for what you got, it's like, those are some really tough stories you're telling yourself. And I could tell you that in this moment right here, right now, you could close your eyes, take a few breaths, try and get out of your head a little bit, especially that inner critic, and try and visualize good things happening. Try and imagine you improving your health, your fitness, your exercise. Imagine you being in the most healthiest relationship that you could ever imagine, right? And what would that feel like, to feel someone that really showing up for you the way that you can imagine you showing up for others? But again, if you're someone that self-abandons in order to try and make somebody love you and keep someone happy, you don't love yourself yet. There's not true self-love there. It's doing things, right, with ulterior motives. It's saying it's saying that you need to do something in order to earn love, to keep love. When in reality, and this is hard to wrap our heads around, you are love. I am love. We are love. What you seek is not love. That's a story you've told yourself. That love comes in the form of another person showing up. If that's where your wounding is, which that is where mine was, and it's still areas that I'm healing with the residual parts of my process, it comes from not feeling like you're a burden. It comes from a sense of abandonment. It comes from a sense that whoever your caregiver was when you were small, that you were not enough, that you were a burden, that you changed someone's life and not for the better. And there's a lot of parents that express that. I can remember many times being told things that made me feel like somehow my existence caused another person harm. That's my mom. And clearly, I think even my father. And yet, as children, we feel that energy. Even if it's not even expressed, you'll feel it. You'll feel the sighs, the frustrations and the burden and the overwhelm in someone else's heart. And guess where that points back to? Ourselves. And then we become what? People pleasers, because we feel like we need to fix people, that we need to do things in order to earn their time and their attention, because it didn't just come naturally. And guess what? That's still showing up in many people's lives today, where we will absolutely self-abandon. And if that's where you find yourself, that's a tough place to be. Because I guarantee you, deep down inside, you're desperate for more. And you probably feel like you have to just keep sacrificing and doing whatever it takes to keep whatever you have there. And even if that means feeling miserable, even if that's hardly feeling real genuine connection and alignment with the person that you're doing life with the most. And it takes a lot of courage to even, one, see that, and two, say, what can you do different? Again, it's looking at what can you change, what can you not change? Can you change the past? No, but if you're right now rooted in the present, there's almost unlimited possibilities. It's unlimited possibilities. It's just, how deep are you willing to go to get to your truth and to realize what you're truly worth, regardless of your past? We need to face the past. We need to reflect on it. We need to find the patterns from our past experiences that cause us the most pain. And then we can start to deal with that and clear those areas of our lives. and also be able to give them new empowering meanings. You can't change what happened, but you can re-empower yourself by changing heartbreak into transformation. It was a transformational relationship, turning abuse into abundance, saying that without that, you wouldn't have some kind of a level of appreciation for something. And is that some little bit of a mind trickery? Yeah, it is. But you got to figure, if you're not doing if you're not reframing things into the positive, you're probably your worst enemy. You're probably holding yourself back, beating yourself down day in and day out, and just kind of wishing desperately that something would change. And I'll tell you that my hope for you is that something does change. I hope the bottom falls out. I hope that you have that upheaval in life that'll allow you to truly hit that reset button and start to really make some big time changes. And if you're somebody that's interested in joining a group of people that are also sick and tired of feeling sick and tired and wanting to take their power back, to find the courage within them to face themselves, to do the reflection, reconnect with the hurt parts of ourselves, usually our inner child, and then actually start trying some new practices like pranayama breath work. I invite you to join me and others for the Breath of Life Healing Circle. It starts Sunday, May 4th at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Click on the link down below or go to resultskillexcuses.com. Click on the Breath of Life link and sign up. Show up and be ready to experience some drastic transformation in your life. Be expecting to show up for this group and actually feel something that you've probably never felt before. Versus what? Just sitting there, waiting, wishing, wanting something to change. I think it's cool that we're commencing the group on May the 4th, right? I always enjoyed Star Wars and thinking about the Force, and it's like I have tapped into the Force, the healing force, the breath. It's the breath. The breath, the vision, right? The vision. I always think about Luke, right? And Yoda, where he had to have the blindfold and you know, to have that vision, that third eye vision that could strike that little orb, right? That there's so much power in our vision. So to incorporate reflection, the vision, and the breath in order to start to activate your healing and growth and expansion for what? To become the better version of you, to really start to connect with your true and authentic self. It's all right there. The power is yours. Do you want to take action or not? The invitation is here. You are invited. It is a safe container. It is a place that you absolutely belong. And the more resistant you are towards it, right, that's really the more that you should actually just say, you know what, let me give it a try. Right? If you're feeling resistance, if you're feeling doubt, give it a try. Take that leap of faith. Come join me. Come join me and others starting Sunday, May 4th, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And even if you sign up and you can't make that particular time live, every session will be recorded. Just give yourself a couple hours at some point throughout the week to really be in an undistracted location where you can lay down very comfortably, right? Where you can really create a sacred space and a sacred time for yourself. What a great gift. What a great gift to give yourself. To be free from distractions, free from the noise, and really allowing yourself to be a part of something incredible. True transformation, true healing. I invite you to be on that journey. I want to thank everybody, all the new subscribers. I'm feeling the energy coming in. I'm feeling the message being shared. I'm going to keep getting on here. If you ever want to connect, explore one-on-one coaching options, reach out, Greg at resultskillexcuses.com. right? If you haven't taken action yet, but you're looking at journaling, click on the link down below. 1% Better Everyday Journal. These things that I'm offering, I know, are things that I could have used 13 years ago, either right as I was hitting my rock bottom, definitely before I hit the rock bottom, or certainly as I was going along a journey trying to figure myself out for the first time. So I invite you, I welcome you, I thank you for being a part of this community. If you haven't yet, introduce yourself. Hopefully there's a message that you feel that you're resonating with, that you can connect with and open up with, knowing that it's safe. It's been one of the coolest things about putting the message out there, is seeing and reading the vulnerability in so many of you to being able to say, hey, I relate to this message. You know, I'm going through some really tough stuff. And we all are. We're all going through something. It doesn't matter where you're at on this journey. The cool thing is though, to create a community of people that are looking to build each other up, not tear each other down. Lift each other up, right? Not let each other down. Unbiased, non-judgmental. It's a safe space. So I welcome you to even go deeper. And you can start by signing up, Breath of Life, Healing Circle, or reaching out to me if you even want the next level of higher accountability, one-on-one coaching. I would love to work with you. I love you guys. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it won't be worth it. Greg's out.